the Gränsfors Bruk Carpenters Axe. Can't give you my first impressions on it. Been throwing it for way too long. I've got too many of these under my belt, throwing them and learning them and seeing how they fly to give you a first impression. So I can't do that. But it doesn't mean I can't give you my honest opinion on what I think about this axe as a throwing axe and how well it holds up and the things that it brings to the table. This was one of the very first axes that I bought that was basically kind of expensive, and I've been throwing it ever since. And I've got a ton of these axes. Did different things, designed the head differently. Swedish axe head with an American hickory handle. This is going to be a good review because I've got a ton of time behind this axe. I can tell you all the pros, all the cons, what it brings to you and what it could bring to you for axe throwing. But before we get into all of that and I tell you what I think about the axe, the pros, the cons and all that, let me show you what this thing can do. Let's throw it. So let's get into talking about this thing, the Gränsfors Bruk Carpenters Axe, and I'll just give you guys some reasons as to why I like it. I like it because normally speaking, in my experience and in my opinion, Gränsfors does a great job of hafting their heads on their handles. I've gone through a ton of Gränsfors Bruk axes and I haven't had any heads come loose yet. You guys may have a different experience. I'm just giving you my opinion, okay? So they do a really good job of hafting their heads on their handles. They also choose really good wood. I haven't had very many handles split, break, crack, etc. I've had some, but it's usually very minor. I haven't had blowouts. It's usually a little crack here or there. So I do think they choose their hickory handles very well for their axes. I think they do a very good job with consistency when they make their axe heads. Now this one here came in at about 2 pounds. The bit is normally around 3 1/4 or 3 1/2 inches, somewhere in there. I've gotten both. This one's at the 3 1/2 inch mark. The length of the head from the bit to the pole on this one is 5 1/2. I've gotten some that have been 5 1/4, some that have been 5 3/4. Of course, guys, whenever they're forging axes like this, these measurements can be approximate, okay? I do concern myself really only with the bit length. I don't like anything less than 3 1/2 or pushing 3 1/4. As long as I got 3 1/4, I'm okay, but I'd rather have 3 1/2 inch bit. The length of this is coming in at 17 1/4. I've gotten some at 17. I've gotten some at 17 1/2. It really just depends on the axe that you get. And let me show you guys some more throwing videos. I've done a bunch of shorts with these axes. I'm gonna roll a short in really quick and show you how precise you can be at double rotations. So here we go. I need to go back to making just throwing shorts and stop talking so much. The reason why I think this axe is at its best from double rotation and in is because the weight is evenly distributed on this axe. Okay, it's not tipping back, it's not tipping forward. It's right there where it needs to be at to make it even. And I will say that sometimes when you go back for triple and quadruple rotations, it has a tendency to kind of dance in the air. So that's kind of why I like staying with double rotations and in. But guys, the double rotations, this thing is a freaking laser beam. I mean, as you saw in that short, I did two of them, two different shorts, and I did two different videos in the same short, and I was just hitting bullseyes at double rotations. It's extremely accurate. But like I said, when you just get back past that double rotation mark, I kind of notice that the head starts dancing a little bit in the air. So it can make for sticking the bit at a triple rotation a little difficult because you got a lot of movement. Now when I get my Gränsfors Bruk Carpenters Axes, what I like doing is I like shaving the knob down, okay? This thing comes with a flared knob. It's not huge, but it is present. And then you have kind of like two grip supports down here that kind of shoot out like this. I shave those off. So I shave those off, shave it to where it's evenly with the handle here, so that way I get a nice straight handle design to make for a really good release out of the hand, okay? And it just makes for a really nice release when you take those side flares out and kind of just put it in line with the rest of the handle. It just feels real clean out of the hand. So we talked about hafting and how I think they do a very good job hafting their axes, guys. Most of the time when I use these Gränsfors Bruk Carpenters axes, if I don't redesign the head, I don't even mess with it. And all they use is a hardwood wedge at the top, and I haven't had any issues with it. So, you know, that's just my experience and opinion. Now the bit quality. There's a bunch of stuff online about bit quality on the Gränsfors Bruk Carpenters axes. Actually, on a lot of their axes, I've seen a lot of people saying that they have soft metal and so on and so forth. My experience really hasn't been that. I did get one axe one time that I felt that the steel was a little soft on it. But I will give you guys my honest opinion on this axe and tell you that when you hear a lot of people say stuff about edge rollover, I do get quite a bit of edge rollover on the factory edge that comes to me from Gränsfors. Now, I will say they put a great edge on their axes, and normally when they come to me, they're very sharp. But when I start throwing them, especially hard, I do end up getting edge rollover. So what I end up doing is I end up having to reprofile the edge, give it more of their bit angles are really steep and really thin, which is great for axe throwing. I just kind of bring it out a little bit more, and I tend to kind of alleviate edge rollover. I mean, I'll still get it from time to time from throwing hard, but their bit quality though is incredible. I can get these things extremely sharp, and they hold their edge extremely well too. Now, like I said, guys, this is just my experience and my opinion, but I will tell you that I can throw this thing all day long, and it will still end up at the end of the day with a nice edge on it. So I do enjoy Gränsfors tempering and how they do their axe heads, because in my experience, almost all the axes I've got have held their bit very well, and it's just been a great edge. It's a new setup in the background, guys. I need to get that bark off that tree. It's not really sticking to all that well in there. Great axes, guys. You can throw those things any way you want to, really. As long as you get the bit really sharp, you can do kind of different throws like that one there. I love that kind of throw. But yeah, great axe. And of course, guys, we got our double rotations, which hit really hard and really good. And that's one thing I didn't say earlier when I was talking about how this thing flew very well for double rotations. You don't have to throw this thing really hard either to get it to hit hard at a double rotation. As you can see, I didn't put very much force into that throw, and you heard it hit. It sank really deep. I mean, it sank all the way up to here into the target. So that's another reason why I like the Carpenter's axes for axe throwing. So I might add a little power to this throw for double rotation, so that way you can see it and that way you can hear it. thing just releases really nice. It really does. Whenever you guys have big targets like this and you're doing a single rotation, it'd be pretty simple. You got a big target to aim at. Even going back to double and triple rotations, you still have big targets to aim at, so you have the ability to kind of miss. You want to humble yourself quick? Go back to double rotations or farther with a wood round. Challenge yourself with that. It's fun and it can be a little bit intimidating, but try it, guys. Get you a smaller target to throw at for distance, and then when you go to those big targets, you'll see a complete difference in how you throw. Let's give that big log there some attention. So final thoughts on the Gränsfors Bruk Carpenters Axe. Do I think it's worth the money? As you guys know, it's coming in at over $200. I think it's a personal choice. For me, I know that I'm getting a really good axe head that I've got a ton of time behind, and I know that it's going to last me a really long time. I'm going to have a video coming up probably after this one, and I'm going to show you guys how I hafted 2 brand new Carpenter's Axe handles onto Gränsfors Bruk Carpenter's Axe heads, and how easy it is to replace these handles. The handles that they send you are extremely easy to haft onto the heads, so that is another plus. You don't have to spend a ton of time hafting the handle onto the head because it comes almost ready to go for you to drive into the axe head, so that is a plus. Overall experience with these things has been incredible. Like I said, double rotations in. The bit holds up. The handles are really good. The wood that they choose is really good. It's just a really good axe, and it's one of my favorite throw-in axes. If you want to see more of the Gränsfors Bruk Carpenters Axe, come back and watch the hafting video where I show you guys how I haft these 2 axe heads onto these brand new Gränsfors Bruk Carpenters Axe handles. And in that video, at the very end, I'm going to show you guys how I throw all 3 of these. Some pretty cool dynamic throwing, so come back and watch that. I appreciate everybody's support, I really do. You guys are what make this channel, and I love everything you guys do to make this channel what it is. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. I love throwing for you guys. Me and Dave love coming out here and doing this. So come back and watch the hafting video. And then at the end, I'm going to show you guys how I throw all 3 of these dynamic, different bullseyes. It's going to be really cool. But I hope you got some good information out of this video. And I hope I gave you some information on the Gränsfors Bruk Carpenters Axe. Personal choice, guys. It really is. If you want to spend that money, I think that you'd be well off at least owning one. Get one, save up the money, get one, and then tell me what your experience is. I'm curious to know how well it flies for you and what you think about it. But until next time, guys, see ya. Stuck around to the end, you saw that throw. Don't throw it too much. Getting older, shoulder hurts, but figure I'd do it for you guys. Thanks.